Hi everyone, I'm George Farrar, and welcome to JAX 77, Jacksonville as it was in the year 1977. I'm pleased to bring you this show about Jacksonville as it was in the year 1977. Now, back in 1977, I was only 2 years old. This picture was taken, according to the date on the picture, on January 2nd, 1977. Don't remember a lot, though I enjoy the music from that year. We'll talk about that later on. In that picture, I'm out off Black Creek in the yard at my grandparents' place. At this point in my life, I'm just around a year away from some big things happening. Now, to everyone else, there's a lot going on. This is a picture of a portion of downtown Jacksonville viewed from across the river from Friendship Park. This is from the summer of 1977, this picture. We see the Civic Auditorium. We see in the distance the Hotel Mayflower, which ultimately was demolished. We see the Sears store in business. We see the Atlantic Bank building. Now, this is before the landing, so we don't see the landing, but we do see in the distance the old Barnett Bank building with the clock, the digital clock. So it looks like a beautiful time, leisurely time, and we're going to be taking a look first at downtown Jacksonville, what was going on there, and then we'll look further out at some different things going on. Let's take a look at Hemming Park before the 1977 renovation. This is the way the park looked like before the changeover happened. We see the bandstand. We see a lot of palm trees. We see a lot of benches, a lot of grass. So there was going to be an effort in 1977 to change, and so ultimately it changed from what we're looking at here. So people were really taking one last look at the park before it essentially became a plaza. Here's a close-up picture taken by the Florida Times-Union of Hemming Park. So people knew back then that big changes were coming. So things were going to be changing, and that's the one thing, if you think about it, in the world that we have, it's one thing constant, it's change. And 1977, for residents of Jacksonville, certainly no exception. Not only were there changes at Hemming Park, there were also changes in the landscape of downtown Jacksonville business. Because in the year 1977, Crest Department Store closed its doors. Crest Department Store had been at the corner of Main and Adams Streets for a long time, and so we see this picture of the store after it's closed. And we'll see some pictures of the department store. The next picture you'll see will be of Crest as it was in the 1950s. And here we see Crest at the corner of Main Street and Adams Street in the 1950s. The golden age of shopping in downtown Jacksonville was the 1930s, the 1940s, the 1950s, the 1960s, even as far back into the early 20th century with the Cohen Brothers department store in 1914. So these were great times for businesses. But in the 1970s, things were changing. So Crest closed, and later on, more stores would close as more people were doing their shopping at the mall. Okay, they were going out to Phillips Mall. They were going out to Normandy Mall. They're going to Regency Square Mall, Gateway Mall, Orange Park Mall. All these different malls opened up out in the suburbs. And so people wanted to do more of their shopping, less downtown, and more at an enclosed mall. So this would have some impacts later on in Jacksonville history as the economic downturn that was going on prevailed. So we'll fly through some different pictures of downtown Jacksonville now. The Snyder Memorial Methodist Episcopal Church on Laura Street. In 1977, Barnett Bank was celebrating its 100th anniversary. It had been founded in 1877. Here we see what was the Duval County Courthouse and the City Hall at the time. And here we see construction almost completed on what we now know as Florida State College at Jacksonville. I knew it as FCCJ, and it opened as FJC, Florida Junior College, the downtown campus. In 1977, we still have the shipyards. We still have these ships not far from downtown. But times are changing. So something else is going to change down the road. In 1974, passenger rail operations had moved from Union Terminal to the Amtrak station on Clifford Lane. Here we see pictures of Amtrak rail cars in October 1977. Unfortunately, 1977 was a year of tragedy. In October 1977, 3 members of the Lynyrd Skynyrd Band died in a plane crash in Mississippi. Lynyrd Skynyrd went by that name because of gym coach Lynyrd Skynyrd, who would get on them about their hair, their long hair. He also had a realty company. To me, Lynyrd Skynyrd from that time was something really amazing. They were an amazing band. Sweet Home Alabama, Free Bird, Southern Rock. And I had a chance growing up in the late 70s, 1980s, 1990s, up to today, to enjoy great Southern rock music. So this was a time of tragedy because of the plane crash. Tom Wills did a show, a profile on Channel 4 WJXT, the video of which is available on YouTube. And it was a documentary that looked at the band and looked at how people came to terms with the tragedy. Ultimately, the band reconstituted in 1987. So music is something amazing. Music is something that keeps on going, and it becomes a part of our Jacksonville history. This was a Jacksonville band, homegrown folks who made it big. And they made it big in my heart, and I know they made it big in all of ours out there as well. None other than the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, was set to perform in Jacksonville in April 1977. However, he couldn't make it to do the concert. So Colonel Tom Parker got the date changed. And so May 30th, 1977 was the last time that Elvis Presley performed in Jacksonville, Florida. So if you attended that concert, that was the last time you were going to be able to see him perform live in Jacksonville. People at the time couldn't have known that on August 16th, 1977, he was going to pass away at Graceland, his estate in Memphis, Tennessee. There was no one more true to rock and roll and to the origins of rock and roll in his heart than Elvis Presley. If you look back at his life, you see projected out a great amount of charisma, positivity, energy, and he really inspired lots of people. And so I have to say, as we come towards the end of JAX 77, there is almost a pall that is cast over this show because of such deep tragedy. Some great talented people gone too soon. Also in 1977, a rising state politician, State Senator Bob Graham, dropped into Jacksonville to bartend. He would do this thing where he would do different jobs. He could be a teacher one day, a bartender another day, a highway worker another day, a department store worker another day. You get what I mean? And he would go out there and he would do the job, basically. He would take a day and do a job. And he would learn about the issues the worker was facing in the course of their work. He would learn more about what was going on in the world out there. Politics were changing. We know that because Jimmy Carter had been elected president in 1976. So it was a different time and different things were going on. And so in upcoming episodes of this series, we're going to start taking a look at how the politics of Jacksonville and of Florida were changing. In this picture, we see Bob Graham bartending, and we see that he's being filmed. He's being filmed because there's a big campaign ahead. He's running for governor of Florida, and he dropped by Jacksonville to see what's going on. So let's take one last look, one last reddish 1970s tinged look at Jacksonville. And let's think about all the changes that are to come from this moment forward. I have a lot to bring you. I hope that you've enjoyed our look at 1977 Jacksonville. In coming years of this series, looking at 1978 forward up to 1995, you're going to start hearing more about my memories of Jacksonville and things that were going on that I can relate to and that I remember. And I'm going to have such great joy bringing it to you right here on the LeftTurnNetwork.com, throughout the Left Turn Network, on both YouTube channels, on Facebook, everywhere. So thanks for watching. Take it easy. See you later.